Welcome to our today's session. We'll be talking about fundamental analysis, and it's going to be its first part since it's a quite big subject. We split it into two pieces, and today we're going to talk generally about fundamental analysis and how it applies on the trading stocks in decision of evaluating stocks and assessing the stock value. So mainly will be related to stocks, while the next session will be focusing on other parts of market, other financial assets that where the fundamentals analysis are also applicable, and we'll be talking also about economic indicators and all those that influence the Forex trading, which will be the subject in our coming next class next Thursday. Today we're going to start talking about fundamental analysis, and basically the first thing to define what is the fundamental analysis, as the market prediction of market movements use two main tools, let's call them, for getting an idea where the market is going, to define trends and to find the best trading opportunities. One is fundamental and the other one is technical analysis. Technical analysis will be subjects of our coming classes. Today we're talking about fundamentals, as I said, and simply the definition says that this is a method of evaluating security or financial instrument to assess its intrinsic value by examining related economic, financial, and other qualitative and quantitative factors, since there are a number of factors that influence performance of companies, company stocks, currencies. All these factors need to be considered and included in analyzing the desired asset in order to get the most accurate information and secure your investment the most possible way, in order not to go into losses. How it works, basically the fundamental analysis in comparison to technical, which uses historical data, fundamental analysis basically uses real data to evaluate desired security. It's mainly used to evaluate stocks, as we said, but also applies to any type of financial assets. So we can assess anything from stocks, companies, economies, Forex, currency pairs, commodities. So it's applicable worldwide. It's widely applicable, pardon, to all financial assets. Fundamental analysis, as we mentioned previously, analyzes economy, analyzes then sector, then financial statements. So it's if you break it into smaller pieces, you have to start from the bigger picture. So in order to see the performance of certain company or stock of the company, we have to see first how the economy of that country is moving. Then we go towards the sector where the stock belongs, and then to the company whose stock it is, and see all the financial statements and the performance of the company in order to generate the value of the stock against its current market price, which is main aim to give us a signal for the type of position that we are going to take on that security, basically to buy or to sell, depending what our analysis information will give us. Now there is a slide which shows that it's like sort of a circle, which includes company analysis, industry analysis, economic conditions, future profit outlook. So all these factors that are important in order to evaluate the certain security and need to be considered and need to be analyzed in details in order that we will get sort of the best information to make our trading decision, as we said, to buy or to sell a certain security. What we need to take a look on is to see the, let's say, if we are taking, if we are analyzing the performance of the company, then we have to see certain important factors that are included in analyzing the company. So company's earnings, so we have to see the financial statement of the company and to see how it stands financially. Then other thing important is to see how the company's growth, is it developing or it's contracting. This is another important signal that could be reached if we know how the company is standing. For example, recent or couple of 2 years ago, basically, we had I just want to go back a bit to explain to you how it works from fundamental side. So 2 years ago, when the President Donald Trump stepped in the White House, shortly after he took his presidency, he made a statement saying that medicines and all drugs in the US are overpriced, which made a crash in the pharmaceutical sector on the Wall Street. Within a couple of hours, they were sharply down, all the stocks of the pharmaceutical sector, based on the news. Fundamentals also include the news, of course, apart from analyzing statements and strength of the growth, strength of the company. It also includes the news. So any news that come could also add to our evaluation of the stock. So value in the market, basically it looks for the value of the certain stock in the market, its current evaluation compared to its intrinsic value, which we are going to talk a bit later about. Now, the financial statements that need to be considered and need to be studied from each company, it's an income statement. So we have to see how the company is producing money. Then we have balance sheet and the cash flow statement, which is another important thing. Most of these things you can find ready on the sites of the companies or simply on the financial sites that are specialized for these things. Though sometimes could be a quite big job if the company is big, especially if we talk about cash flow statement, then we can see that big companies have a huge cash flow and sit on the huge amounts of the cash. So it's a bit difficult job. So it's in a way better to get it from financial portals where you can collect all the necessary informations. Now, back to these reports, I want to give a sample. One of the biggest US retailers showed the earnings report showed the fall in retail sales, although the stock itself was going up despite negative earnings reports and the fall in the retail sales. If we take a deeper look inside, then we could discover that, let's say, online sales were strongly up and improved greatly that picture. So this is a sample just how we should take a look in analyzing a certain security. So everything needs to be taken into consideration, and not necessarily that initial information we get reflects the real situation of the stock. The goal of fundamental analysis, we already mentioned this, is to make financial forecasts based on the historical and present data. So what we need is to get the full information in order to make our proper trading decision, to find the best security with a good signal whether to buy or to sell, depending on the results of our analysis. So what we'll be looking on projections of business performance of the company, internal business decisions, so how the company is ruled, how good business decisions are made, because sometimes you can have management which made few quite wrong steps, and this reflects, of course, on the company performance. Then we will evaluate the company stock, something that we'll be looking for the price, and collecting all these data will be helping us to predict the stock price value. So several important factors that are important need to be analyzed, and this will give us valuable results before we make our trading decision. What is important, the most important actually thing, is the so-called intrinsic or true value of the stock, because not necessarily that the current price of the stock will reflect purely its intrinsic value. This is the value calculated on using fundamental analysis, that what we mentioned, including all relevant factors, and it's using all factors which include qualitative and quantitative factors. So qualitative should be the business model, the in regards to financial statements. So the calculated value is compared now. Have a clearer picture whether that security is overvalued or undervalued. This gives us basically a signal when the stock is overvalued. This is a good signal to sell it, while when it's undervalued, it gives us opposite direction signal, a signal to buy. So most of the stock traders are looking for this information in order to get as much as possible detailed information before they make their decision. Relevance for of the financial fundamental analysis applies on traders, because single traders will be looking for signal and opportunity to get certain good signal for entering market, and to profit on if hitting the right direction of the stock. Then we have a big group of financial advisors. These are people who evaluate stocks and then give the advice to either traders or companies in order to get more information for those who are not performing their analysis, but depending on specialists and value investors, those who are also searching for the best opportunities for traders for entering positions, and trying to benefit as much as possible from the current signals. So the fundamental analysis, as we said, is quite important. Factor in analyzing markets. When we take a look at certain company, then we take into consideration all of these factors that are included, and break them in pieces one by one, analyzing one by one, so we can have a clearer, as much as possible, clear picture about the value of the stock, with the calculation of this intrinsic or true value being one of the key things in order to compare the stock price, current stock price, with the real picture of the company that issued that stock. So we get a more realistic picture of this. So if, as we said, undervalued is buying signal, and overvalued is a selling signal, then we have also important to mention the income statements. This is what we spoke about. It's a statement that measures companies' performance over specific period of time, and could be monthly, quarterly, or annually. And as I said, these statements could be found on either on companies' sites or on the financial portals which provide them. The next important is the balance sheet, which represents a record of companies' assets, liabilities, and equity in the given period of time. So it gives us more details how the company is performing. And as we said, the cash flow statement represented a record of cash inflows and outflows over a required period of time. So in combining all these things, we can get information for the management calculation. So basically, we can have a clearer picture when to enter the market and which security shows the best signal. At the same time, while performing this analysis, we determine the company's strength, which is also important, not as a single entity, but also in comparison to the competition, because it's important. No matter if a company shows good results, if the competition is standing above them, and the desired company is not showing that good results in comparison to the competition, this could be negative signal, despite that our initial fundamental analysis gave us quite good signals for certain directions. So this is also important, as well as analyzing companies' financial strength. So that includes these cash inflows and outflows, revenues, and all these that are crucial in generating correct information about the company and having a correct trading signal. So basically, fundamental analysis is one of the key tools that is used in order to evaluate the stock or the company or the industry, and to give us more detailed signals when to enter the market and in which direction, while also, as said at the beginning, it applies on all instruments, on all sectors. So it could also apply on the Forex trading, which could be our focus, and we're going to go in details in our next session in order to get more information of economic indicators, economies itself, talking about gross domestic product, and how the releases of certain key events are affecting the market. We have a number of samples of this in the market and nowadays, so it will be quite interesting if we follow the next session